Iryna Zarutska. Now, watch the Narcissists. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The lady looking at you on your screen is a Ukrainian refugee called Iryna Zarutska. She may be familiar to some of you, others might not be aware, because, interestingly, there hasn't been the widespread coverage of this event that perhaps there ought to be. You may also have seen the image that now appears on your screen, which was taken from the Charlotte area transit system that shows Iryna Zarutska travelling on a train in Charlotte. There are two other people sat to her right, and the man wearing red behind her stands and, completely unprovoked, stabs her several times in the neck with a pocket knife. Some of you may have seen the video showing the murder. Some of you may have seen some of the stills taken from it as he looms over her with his arm coming down towards her to strike her. And some of you may have seen the pictures where she's lost her baseball cap and she's looking, having been stabbed, with a look of confusion on her face. The man suspected of carrying out this deadly knife attack on a Ukrainian refugee in Charlotte, North Carolina, has been charged with a federal crime that makes him eligible for the death penalty. DeCarlos Brown Jr., aged 34, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder over the unprovoked attack on 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska on a train last month. On Tuesday, the Justice Department said that Brown had been also charged with causing death on a mass transportation system. Attorney General Pamela Bondi said the department would seek the maximum penalty and he would never again see the light of day as a free man. Graphic video of the killing, released on Friday, has fueled outrage and reignited debate over US crime rates. Ms. Zarutska's horrific murder is a direct result of failed soft-on-crime policies that put criminals before innocent people, Bondi said on Tuesday. Federal prosecutors in North Carolina disputed accusations of political grandstanding during a media conference on Tuesday. If mayors can't keep their trains and buses safe, they don't deserve the taxpayers' money, US Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said in a statement. Ms. Zarutska fled the war in Ukraine along with her mother and siblings in 2022, and her family wrote in an online obituary that she had quickly embraced her new life in the United States and was a gifted and passionate artist. The attack was widely covered in Ms. Zarutska's home country, where news outlets reported shock and sadness over the killing and noted the ongoing debate in the United States. While crime rates in the United States remain lower than their pandemic-era peaks, critics have seized on the case to highlight judicial release and the amount of attention given to the slaying by a number of left-leaning media outlets. Republicans and conservative commentators question why Brown was free despite an extensive criminal history, which according to state records includes convictions for robbery with a dangerous weapon, larceny, and breaking and entering. Other right-wing influence alleged the crime was racially motivated and claimed that the suspect made a comment about the victim's race. The suspect is black and Zarutska was white. However, authorities have not outlined a motive, and Brown has not been charged with a hate crime. Brown was reportedly homeless and suffering from mental health issues, and his mother told a local TV station that she had sought to have him involuntarily committed to a psychiatric hospital after he became violent. In January, he was arrested after repeatedly calling the 911 emergency hotline from a hospital, but was later released. Now, at the time, there was some coverage of this incident, and it has gained greater traction as a consequence of the release of the video last Friday. But similar to the circumstances of the death of Charlie Kirk, this provides you with another opportunity to understand the reactions of the narcissist in respect of this death. Irrespective of politics, the fact is that you, with the knowledge of certain narcissists, will now understand the response, or lack of response, as being driven by their narcissism. Once upon a time, you may well have believed that the response of a particular individual was motivated by the fact that they were moved by the circumstances of this awful crime, that they felt sympathy for what had happened to this young lady, that they were motivated to seek justice. But as a consequence of understanding that certain individuals are identified as narcissists, you can now gauge their behavior through a different lens. As I have explained on numerous occasions, many people, after resolving the personal issues that they have with the narcissist that has entered their life, realize that their knowledge about narcissism helps them understand so much more about the way that the world works and functions because of the behavior of narcissists, and given the fact that many positions of prominence and power are occupied by narcissists for reasons that I have outlined in separate videos. In relation to the fatal killing of Iryna Zarutska, you will see individuals that will come and they will utilize her death as a means for leverage. For instance, Elon Musk on X has already stated that he will donate $1 million for the purposes of having murals painted across America of Iryna Zarutska. Now, on the face of it, you may well think what a lovely gesture to ensure that this beautiful young lady is remembered. That's very kind. But what you must understand, that it's being done for self-serving purposes in order to generate attention by virtue of fuel for Elon Musk. You may argue, well, I don't care if he's donating his money and he's a very wealthy man and it does something good. I don't care about what it is or what his actual motivations are. And indeed, you're perfectly entitled to adopt that view. Indeed, it's one that's applicable to my work, that irrespective of what my motivations may be for the provision of excellent and life-changing information about narcissism, many people simply think, I don't care how it serves HG, the fact is, it helped me, and that was all that mattered. But the point is that it is important to understand the motivations of those individuals. And, having made this donation, or pledged to have done so, Andrew Tate then appeared, another narcissist, saying that he would match it. Now, you know that he's a narcissist, and a different type to that of Elon Musk, and arguably one that behaves in a much more unpleasant way than Elon Musk does. But the fact is that his motivation is that, again, of the pursuit of the prime aims. And both individuals are seeking leverage based on the tragedy. Yes, the outcome may well be a good one, a pleasant one, but it does not detract from the fact that they are doing it for self-seeking purposes. Furthermore, there might be some that would say, well, what's the point in donating money for murals? Why don't you use the money on safety? It's a valid observation. Others will say at least they're doing something. There were murals, for instance, in relation to George Floyd. Why aren't there murals in relation to this lady, in relation to Iryna Zarutska? People will naturally identify hypocrisies and contradictions with regard to the stance of people where they spoke out in respect of previous tragedies, but have not done so in relation to Iryna Zarutska. And this leads to the other aspect of how you can watch the behaviour of the narcissists, because there will be those, and I have examined certain of these narcissists, who spoke out in relation to the death of George Floyd, but so far have remained completely silent in relation to Iryna Zarutska. Individual, for instance, Taylor Swift. She, on her Instagram page, spoke out in support of George Floyd, posting an image in relation to words associated with what he was saying about not being able to breathe, and that the police officer was kneeling on his neck. And yet, so far as I'm aware, Taylor Swift has said nothing in relation to Iryna Zarutska because she has no emotional empathy for this individual, and it does not suit her inherent purposes in the pursuit of the prime aims to talk out, to speak out in relation to it. And thus, the tragedy of the loss of life of Iryna Zarutska is something that provides you with an opportunity to increase your awareness of narcissism and the way that people in the world behave, so that you can see that there are those that make political capital, personal capital, out of the tragedy, and then there are those that stay silent. Ones who will leap about and jump up and down and make gestures because it's suited their allegiances driven by their narcissism. But when it comes to the death of an unprovoked white woman, in an unprovoked attack, rather, who was minding her own business, looking at her phone, who was a refugee who had escaped war, finds herself slain in brutal circumstances, there is a complete silence, which not only demonstrates the hypocrisy of those relevant individuals, but it also belies their absence of emotional empathy. Now, there will be plenty of people that spoke out about the death of George Floyd or other controversial incidents and remain silent in respect of Iryna Zarutska, who are not narcissists. Their motivations are driven by other factors. But this is a channel about narcissism, and I make mention of this so that you can utilize the circumstances of this awful event to watch the responses of identified narcissists, to see those that leverage it, and you now understand why they're involved and why they speak out about it. And similarly, those that remain completely silent, even though hitherto they had plenty to say about other tragedies. You now are able to understand the hypocrisies and the slavish devotion to the prime aims exhibited by narcissists who do not give a jot about the people affected by these tragedies. They simply utilize them as currency for the pursuit of the prime aims. It may be viewed as a harsh fact, but it is a fact, and the sooner you understand this in the nature of the way that the narcissist functions, the better. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.